Well everybody, 2024 is now in the books, and it's time to take a look at my Mario Kart Wii timesheet to see what kind of progress I've made in the past year. This year, I achieved exactly 250 3-lap improvements across all 32 tracks, which is 13 fewer than I achieved in 2023. Out of the 40 goals I set for myself last year, I achieved 33 of them. The goals I did not achieve this year were all no-glitch categories, being Toad's Factory, Peach Beach, Sherbet Land, Delfino Square, Desert Hills, Mario Circuit 3, and Peach Gardens. My total time, including glitches, at the beginning of the year was just under 54 minutes. As of today, my total time sits at 49 minutes and 38 seconds, meaning I cut 4 minutes and 15 seconds from my timesheet altogether. Now on the no-glitch side of things, my total time initially was 57:38, and we are now sitting at 57:16. That means I cut just over 22 seconds from improving my no-glitch driving alone. My unrestricted average finish rank at the beginning of the year is unknown because I did not finish my entire timesheet, including flaps, until April of this year. But it is safe to say I was outside of the top 100. As of today, my average finish sits at just under 51, thus ranking me 19th on the players page. As for no glitch, it is also safe to say that I started the year outside of the top 100, but currently my no glitch average finish is just under 55, thus giving me a comfortable spot in the top 25. My current highest ranked 3-lap category is Rainbow Road Glitch, where I just sit barely in the top 30. As for flaps, my highest ranked is Coconut Mall Glitch, where I am currently 6th worldwide. As for no glitch categories, my highest ranked time is the same as last year, being Shy Guy Beach, where I am currently 28th on the players page. For no glitch flaps, my highest ranked is actually DK Mountain, where I implemented the MT cut this year and made a huge jump to 7th worldwide. So overall, I'm very happy with the progress I've made this past year, and those are all the statistics I have to share with you. Really quick, I do have plans for even more time trial content coming in the future. Leave a like and comment for the algorithm, and please subscribe. I would hate for you to miss my special video coming next week. So without further ado, let's take a look at my 2025 Mario Kart Wii timesheet. Alright, so starting off on Luigi Circuit, you can see I cut just over 0.1 from my time last year, getting my first 109.4, and I hit my goal for this year, but I still think there's a lot left in the tank. In fact, there was definitely a lot left when I finished playing this track back in October, and I was hitting, pretty regularly. I was hitting 0.1, 0.0 paces back to back, so I really do have the potential to hit a 109.2. And most of my time saved from this year came from improving my shortcuts. As you're going to see, I have implemented the wheelie cut, the bounce cut. I was using the wheelie cut last year, but as you can see, I'm going to be getting bounces into the cut on all 3 laps, and I've used 2 approaches mainly to that. I use the soft drift method, which is what I do here, and then lap 3 I use the coal cut, which is just the name that Mitch calls it, so I started calling it that. But yeah, it saves actually quite a bit of time to get these to get the bounce cut. So really just improving on my shortcuts, being confident with it, and obviously a lot of time save is going to continue to come from the chain wheelies. I get a fat Keza right there. Probably would have been like a low 0.4 honestly if I'd gotten that that chain right there. So yeah, that's pretty much LC. Got a lot of time left on the table still, and I'm sure we'll make some progress this year. Okay, so we're moving on to Moo Moo Meadows, and I am very happy with my progress for this year. As you can see, I cut just over half a second, getting my first low 116, and my original goal for this year was a 116.5, and I pretty quickly realized this was far within my potential, that I had much more left in the tank. So really what I was just looking for this year was getting a decent 3 for 3 low run with no major mistakes, and this is the result. I got a 116.3. And like I mentioned, I still think I can be a lot faster here. I've hit multiple 0.3 laps. I even think I've hit 0.2s. I'll have to double check my splits, but something like that, I can definitely get a 115. It's so within my range. It's just about stringing 3 good laps together. Obviously the low is super important. I do want to build a little bit more consistency with that, but another important aspect of this track is going to be the last turn. The last turn is just so difficult. You have to land on a very precise spot, and be very cautious with how you do your soft drift. And you can get your MT out right away, get into a wheelie really quickly, but man, it is so hard to do consistently. So building consistency with that last turn, giving it some more practice, going to be really important moving forward. And also I can beat this dirt right here, beat the mole trail. That's going to be a little bit of time save. I won't have to do that rehop. That mole trail at the end can also be a problem, but man, I really like how I finished this turn. Like this last turn right here, I did it so clean, and I secured a 0.3, so yeah, much more in the future. Let's see how things go. Alright, so we're moving on to Mushroom Gorge, and if you saw the thumbnail and were expecting to see me on Shooting Star, well, sorry to tell you, but you got juked, you got finessed. I'm still on Flame Runner, but I am interested in switching to Shooting Star at some point, so that's definitely on the table. But as you can see, I cut some pretty significant time here. I cut 0.7 and getting my first 141 in the process. And man, okay, last year I talked about how much the gap jump was causing me problems. And eventually I just came back to this track one day, and I believe it was for Flap. I was experimenting with the faster, with this shortcut, the way I'm doing the gap cut right here. And for some reason it just clicked. So I was like, okay, I guess I can do this all of a sudden. So I was like, okay, I may as well just do 3 lap. And actually, I improved so quickly, man. Like right away, I improved down to like a 0.3. And further from there, you know, I just kept improving my driving here and there. And I got my first 141. And it was actually a pretty decent sub. Like it's not just a 141.9, I got a 141.8. So overall, I'm very happy with how I did this year. As for outside drifting bike, like I am curious about it, but I know it's going to be like a multiple week grind when I do learn that. So I'm going to assume I'm not going to do it this year. Very well possible in 2026, but I can improve to like a 0.5, a 141.5 just by cleaning up on the smaller stuff. Outside drifting bike is nothing like doing Kart on Rainbow Road, because Kart on Rainbow Road you can learn in a couple days. Here, it's just so hard to actually finish a run. So realistically, I'm probably just going to be on Flame Runner when I do try and improve this again. I think this is actually going to be like one of my lower priorities, just because I know how much potential the outside drifting bike has. So it's kind of like, well, what am I doing? Improving the inside drifting bike, you know? But, you know, if I come back to this, I can definitely get a 0.5, so that's where we're going to put it. And we're moving on to the glitch side of things. I am actually very happy with the progress I've made on this category. This was probably my absolute lowest priority last year, but, you know, the players page kind of made me play it, so I came back, I learned a wheel, and I did this. As you can see, I did a 10.7 second lap compared to what, like 16 second lap I was getting last year. That's so 2024. We are living in a new era, guys. I'm going to be learning. I'm going to hopefully be improving my consistency with the cookie here, and ideally I can get a 3 for 3 cookie, and my estimate is that would get me a 34. So just doing this, just practicing it for days on end, I'm totally confident that I can do a 3 for 3. It's just kind of annoying, you know, to figure out wheel once again, but, you know, I'm sure we can get it done. So yeah, that is Mushroom Gorge Glitch. Alright, so we're moving on to Toad's Factory, and I am so ashamed that I did not reach my goal this year, because this run really should have been it. This could have been like a lower 150, but I threw it away, as we're going to see. But, you know, a 64 millisecond improvement, it's something, but it also doesn't at all show my potential. Really, it's a shame I don't have that a 149 yet, because I feel like I really could get like a 149.9, 149.8, something like that, if I really just pushed myself on this track. But man, it is so taxing to play, and the entire lap just comes down to the shroomless cut and then the low at the very end. And it's just, if anything goes wrong in the first 2 laps, it's an instant reset. I can still sacrifice some time in lap 3 just because of how poor the ending is, but to get a 149, I'm going to have to hold it together for a full 3 laps. So really, I'm just going to need to get really comfortable with the shroomless cut, getting really comfortable with the low as well, building up consistency. And I really feel like it's hit or miss with me, like for the last low, because sometimes like my consistency is just totally there. Like when I was doing box clip, was going to be in this next video here, I was just on point with the low, but I wasn't even doing the no glitch category, so it's like it doesn't even matter. But yeah, it's so frustrating. Anyway, so as you notice, I used 210, and I was just barely fast enough to get under this stomper here. I actually made it with a drop on lap 1, and I didn't even clip the stomper, which is really surprising. But as you can see, like, I just lose so much time here. I don't do a double MT here. This turn isn't taken very well. my screen actually went black while I was in the red room. It happens to me all the time. It's a weird thing that happens. Hopefully I'm going to have it fixed soon, but it happened to me in the red room. It totally interrupted the flow of my run, and I just threw away this ending, man. It's so bad, but yeah, it just shows how much potential I still have. So definitely a 149 coming this year, and I won't settle for anything less. Alright, so we're moving on to Toad's Factory box clip, and I was very happy to get a mid 148 here. I was initially talking to Mitch because he is very good at box clip. I think he's currently 3rd worldwide, soon to be 2nd maybe, but yes, so he was helping me learn box clip, and it was actually quite a bit easier than I was anticipating. Really all it is a frame perfect shroom. You have to be exactly in line with whatever ghost you're racing, and you have to be at a pretty precise angle. But you know, you get pretty frequent attempts at it. It's, you know, you just have to be there at the right time, and then from there it's just a box clip, obviously. But I actually really enjoyed this category. In fact, I would like to learn. I would like to add a lap 3 box clip in, and probably get American tops. If I get a 145 here, that should get me American tops. So if we just finish that off on lap 3, that should be all I need for this year. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this category. I think I have a lot more left here. This driving isn't anything special. It really was just getting a decent box clip and then finishing strong. I think the biggest source of time loss for like the box clip itself is just the recovery. If you get like a perfect recovery, you kind of phase inside of the fence and then you can drift right immediately. Don't hit any of the inside conveyor, and you're just on the green conveyor the whole time. It's super fast. Lap 3, that isn't really a problem just because the inside conveyor is the one that's moving forward, so it's going to be a little easier then. I've also heard for some reason like lap 3 box clips are just easier. Like I don't know what it is, because it is the same thing, but for some reason, or at least Mitch told me, his consistency with like the second box clip is higher than what you might anticipate. So with that in mind, like I don't even think it'll take that long to get a 2 for 3 box clip. I think it'll be sort of just me checking that off of the bucket list. But yeah, that is Toad's Factory 148, and much more to come. Alright, so moving on to Mario Circuit here. This is another track where I'm pretty happy with my progression, but I also feel like I can be a lot faster. So to get my first 121, I basically improved my time from last year, and I was just using 111, and then eventually, the chain chomp was starting to be a problem lap 3, so I switched to 300, and I added the ramp in lap 1, and that allowed me to beat the chain chomp on lap 3. It's not even a problem anymore. But this is my fastest lap 1 ever. Like, this is the best ramp I've ever gotten. King Alex's they're so challenging to get regularly. So I see I got like my flap record here, and then at this point I'm like, okay, all I have to do is just hold it together, because 121 can just be free. So yeah, the laps 2 and 3 driving are just kind of lukewarm. There's really nothing special about it. I could easily cut like another 0.1 off of both of the laps and get to like closer to a mid 121. But long term, the progression is really going to just come from adding the ramps in lap 2 and 3. And that's it's such a massive task, because I remember I had such a hard time getting like a fast ramp or a King Alex. I mean, it would happen like every probably 10 minutes or so, and then that's your one attempt, and there's still no guarantee that the lap is going to be good, just because you need a good triple shroom and all that. But I don't at all like want to psych myself out, because I can definitely be faster here, even if I weren't to change the strategies. So there's definitely a lot left in the tank here. I can still improve lap 1 as well, so definitely a mid 121, definitely very doable, and yeah, we'll see what happens this year. Alright, we're moving on to Mario Circuit Glitch, and I did not have a time for this last year, surprisingly. I think I had like a 1 for 3 tree clip that didn't end up beating my no glitch time, so I really just wanted to cut some ranks on the players page, so I decided to go for 3 for 3 woodless. Really not a hard strategy. Like, I thought it was harder than it actually was. When I started doing attempts, I would get to lap 2 pretty often. So yeah, I could be like so much faster here. Obviously, like my recoveries are decent. My glitches themselves, like you can see, it takes me quite a while to actually do it, and this third glitch is going to take me forever because I go a little too far and then I have to realign and everything. But I can definitely be a lot faster. I'll probably just stick with 3 for 3 woodless for now, just because I can get to like a 55 without much of a problem. You can see like it just takes me forever here. Yeah, that's why this run isn't under a minute. But yeah, obviously I can cut so much time here still. I really don't want to add task clip or any of the other world record strategies at the moment, just because it's gonna, you know, spike the difficulty like way too much. So I'm just gonna sit with 3x3 woodless for now and probably improve it this upcoming year. So yeah. Moving on to Coconut Mall no glitch. I am so happy with my progress this year, cutting over a second, getting down to a low 157. And going into this year, I was actually pretty pessimistic. Like I thought getting a 157 was going to be pretty hard, let alone a mid 157. But you know, I added the infi tricks, and I actually saved quite a bit of time. These infi tricks, you know, they're nothing special. They can still be a little bit faster, but all things considered, like I'm pretty satisfied with how things went. It definitely took me quite a while to finish a run, but you're gonna see, like, I was really trying to focus on, you know, hitting all 3 boost panels in all 3 laps, and that's exactly what I did. But I definitely think I can still be a lot faster here. My best splits already give a 156, and I see no reason why I can't improve them. Like right here, I lose quite a bit of time just from not getting the wheelie out right away. That strategy is just really annoying to do because the wheelie just doesn't come out half the time. So I was lucky to even, you know, be where I am like at this moment. So yeah, just I can continue to optimize the infis. I can just improve my driving overall, really improve my low tricks. You know, those are always going to be sources of time saved. Chain wheelies exist, but they're not all that important just because there's so much tech to this track. But yeah, I think overall everything can be done a little bit better. And I don't really know what 156 car cycles are like. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on that before I start playing this again. But I think I could return to this pretty soon. I recently improved my flap time down to like a 0.6, so a mid 0.6 I believe, which is pretty close to American tops I believe. Might go for that at some point. That's a I've been really enjoying my flaps as of late, just because I feel like they force you to like really focus on the small things in your driving, and when you go over to 3 lap, it kind of carries over in a way. Just you start to notice a lot of small things that are losing your time, and yeah, so like I said, I can definitely improve down to a 156. Getting a 156.6 is definitely going to challenge me. Again, I'm not sure if I might have to do this in 2 sessions. We'll see, but I would love to get a mid 156. That would be awesome. So yeah, we'll see how things go. Alright, moving on to Coconut Mall glitch. It is really surprising that I did not have a glitch time here last year, so I decided to take care of that also in an effort to cut ranks on the players page. And I used this Nara entry. This is the one Nara uses. And I actually found it to not be all that bad. I made it probably every 10 minutes or so. And then from there, finishing a run was all you had to do. Really just doing these 2 curb hops, and then that's all you need to finish a run. I've been on faster paces than this. I recalled entering lap 2 like 0.8 seconds ahead. So I really see no reason I couldn't hit a 32. But I really would like to try to learn the initial entry, the one world record uses, and if I can do that this year, I should be able to get to a 25. So yeah, it's definitely a very hard strat, but we'll see how things go. Moving on to DK Summit, this is probably the biggest meme of the video, and if you don't recall, I started this year at a low 151, and I was like, okay, I can get like a mid 150, right? That shouldn't be all that bad. I returned to the track around February. I get a 150.7 with a fail lap 3. So I was like, okay, I can definitely improve this, but I'm kind of sick of the track. I'm just going to come back to it. And then later, I'm like cutting ranks on the players page, and I'm doing flap. I'm like, I make a Jimmy flap, and I'm like, wait, why can't I just do this in the 3 lap? So as you can see, I add it in to my 3 lap. So I got like a 34 flap, and I was like, okay, if I can do this in flap, there's no reason I can't do it in an actual run. And Mitch was telling me like, bro, please just get like a 149 and then go for Jimmy. But I was like, wait, no, I can do this though, bro, you gotta trust me. So yeah, I get my, this is a PBS by like 0.7 or something crazy like that. I'm not nervous at this point. Like, I don't even know how to feel about this run. This is just outside the realm of anything I've ever experienced before. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna drive the track. I'm just not gonna throw the run, and as long as there are no major mistakes, you know, that's a PB. And as you can see, it's almost a 149, and my goal is a 148 for this year. So the main problem for me is that my no glitch driving here just isn't, well, obviously there's no glitch, but my driving just isn't that good. Like, it can be so much better, but I'm trying to take the path of least resistance. The easiest way for me to improve this year is just, I mean, I could do another 1 for 3 Jimmy and then get like a mid 149 or something, but why not just like ball it and just get a 148? I would rather have a 148 with just crazy strats than, you know, like a decently driven 1 for 3, you know? So I'm just going to push my time down, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get that 148. It might even be a 3 for 3 run, and if it's a 3 for 3 run and I get a 148, the driving clearly isn't that good, but it's going to be a lot faster than this run, and that's all I care about. So yeah, that's DK Summit. Alright, moving on to Wario's Gold Mine No Glitch. I got my first 150 this year, and I'm so shocked how it happened. I came to this track in June, as you can see, and I was ready to put like a week into this track to get my first 150. So I pick it up on June 10th, and I play for about 30-40 minutes, and right away I get my first 36th lap. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I have splits for 150 now, but who knows how long it's going to take to actually get the run, you know? So I come back the next day, and then this run comes out of nowhere, and then my run, my grind for Wario's Gold Mine is over. Like, it was over in a matter of 2 hours of total game time, you know? But, you know, there was no strategy change from last year. I just tried to clean everything up. My run last year definitely had some errors in it, and, you know, I just tried to clean those up. Really focusing on my detach recoveries. I think I really improved that this year. But yeah, by this point, I was in like a call with Mitch, and someone else joined the call, and then he immediately deafened me because he knew, like, wait, this could be something special. If I can just finish up this lap 2 here, it'll be a new best pace. So yeah, after this wall bounce, I'm starting to be like, okay, wait a second, is this 150 pace? Like, could this actually be it? I mean, I still have another lap to do, obviously, but I knew this was going to be like a 36 lap. So yeah, going into the finish line here, as you can see, I'm going to hit like a low 36.9. I'm like, wait, this is actually a 150 pace, and I've only been playing this track for 2 hours. This cannot like actually be happening. So I'm like, at this point, like, my heart is racing because I know I just have, you know, 3 more things to do. I got to do the turn skip, got to do wall bounce, got to do detach, and that's a 150. And I make the turn skip. It's actually a really good turn skip as well. And wall bounce, perfect. Like, that's all I need. I'm like, okay, just make detach, just make detach. And then I enter the turn a little bit early, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, but I end up making detach. Mitch told me after, he was like shocked that I made the detach, and then I just do the last turn, and it's a 150, and I'm freaking out. So obviously going into this next year, I don't want to add any new strats. I'm just going to go for a 0.7, same thing, and yeah, we'll see how things go. And moving on to Wario's Gold Mine Glitch, I did exactly what I said I was going to do last year. I said last year I failed 39 paces, so reasonably if I return to this track I can probably hit a 38, and that's exactly what I did. It took me quite a bit of time, but I was glad to get a mid 38 out of all things, so very happy with that. I think I could improve this still just by doing, you know, faster recoveries from my glitches and faster, you know, alignments and all that, but I really don't feel like this is worth improving unless I'm going to add in the spin drift method and basically do it blind, which is what world record does. So if I just get a 3 for 3 with just the world record method, that's reasonably like a 34. I don't see any reason why I couldn't do that. It's just going to take some time to like drill the inputs and, you know, get used to everything, being comfortable doing it blind. And yeah, I should be able to get a 34 that way. So we'll see how things go. Alright, so we're moving on to Daisy Circuit, and I made some pretty good progress here this year. I went from a 130.6 down to a 129.6, and considering how little tech is on this track, that's a pretty big improvement. So I started the year off and I went for a 129. I got that really early on in the year, and then I returned to this when I was looking at my flaps, and I knew I could improve my flap. And I got a stair dive, and I got 8th worldwide on the flap side of things, so I was really happy with that. But I figured if I could just apply that level of driving to the 3 lap, I could make some good progress. So I cut another 0.3 down to 130.6, or sorry, 129.6, and I feel like this is approaching the limit of what I can do without stair dives, or at least for how little reward there is for improving this without stair dives at this point. The only path forward is to add stair dives in, and it's going to make this track, you know, a lot more annoying to play. You know, needing to rely on basically luck. I mean, it's a frame perfect top for like a really good stair dive, but I think there's also a little bit of luck involved. That's basically what I'm looking for. I think I'm just going to start by adding it whenever I'm down on my PB and also in lap 1, and then I think that'll yield some good time save, but I can definitely push these laps down quite a little bit. But a lot of my improvement from my driving came from how I'm taking this turn right up here. I'm doing it like I showed in my beginners video. There's also like a way of wheeling off of that curb right there. I don't think that's really worth it at this point. That's more of like a 128 strat when I eventually like want to go for worldwide tops, which I might go for in 2026. That's definitely a possibility. But I also improved my U-turns right here. I'm taking them much better, and I'm doing an instant wheelie out of the U-turn as well, finishing the turn really tight here on this last turn. But overall, I'm pretty happy with my progress, and I think I can do a lot more, so we'll see. Alright, so we're moving on to Koopa Cape, one of the most technical tracks in the game, and I made some good progress here this year, but it is really time that I give this track an absolute overhaul. And by that I mean I need to add in Mander 3 for 3, no exceptions. I've had just some struggles with it in the past, which is why I tend to not advocate for its use. I advocated against it in my beginner's tutorial, and I don't even use it in this run, and it's a mid 220. I can definitely improve it without adding in the Mander, but overall I think it's about time that I just added in 3 for 3, because you know, I want to push this to a 218 long term. I'm going to have to learn Mander, so I may as well just add it in. I'm just going to bite the bullet and do it. My only, like, it seems kind of inconsistent and annoying to deal with, and this is just 100% consistent. You know, the way I drift off of it takes out, you know, a major area of inconsistency. But I'm just going to have to add it in. But in addition, I can clean up my driving, like, on most of the other areas of the track. I think I can improve on my, my wraparounds. We're going to see later in the lap. I straight up missed the wraparound on this lap 2. And I also have this, which isn't that great. Yeah, this lap 2 is like a 47.2 lap, so it's not at all up to my standard. Definitely get a pretty terrible shrimless cut as well. And lap 3 I kind of pick it up, because you're going to see, like, this pace isn't all that good, but I kind of make up for it lap 3. But yeah, I think I really just need a strategy overhaul, really just improve my driving all around. I think most of this driving can be done a little bit better. Yeah, like I said, I'm not looking forward to adding Mander, but I kind of have to at this point. Yeah, so 47.2. I can definitely be way faster than this. I picked this up for like a little bit when I was bored playing RBC Glitch, and I pretty quickly hit like double 46 laps. I even hit a 46.3 opener, which is almost pace for a 218. So with that being said, yeah, look at this shroomless. Like, that was absolutely perfect. I can't go any faster than that in terms of shroomlesses. But yeah, like I said, driving can just be all around a little bit better. First priority is going to be a 219. And then if I'm not already using Mander by that point, definitely add it in 3 for 3 and get to that 0.5. And this is going to be a very high priority for me in this upcoming year, just because it's a huge source of time save. It's not a great rank of mine on the players page. Definitely a lot of work to be done here. So yeah, that's Koopa Cape, and much more progress to come. And we're moving on to Maple Treeway No Glitch. I made some pretty good progress here this year. In fact, I picked this up pretty recently, and I pushed it down to my current time. I played it twice this year, basically. So I played it once right at the beginning of the year, and I hit my goal of a 218.8, and then I picked it up again. My plan was to play for 217, which I can definitely do, like, at this moment. I've had 45.7 openers, and I've had 45.7 lap 2s, so my splits almost give a 216, so there's definitely plenty of room here, but I was kind of like distracting myself from playing RBC Glitch, because this has been a top priority of mine, and I've been kind of, you know, bouncing around other tracks, and I had to just, I improved to a 0.5, and I was like, okay, I know I can get a 217, but I have to, like, just focus on my current priorities, because I can never make RBC Glitch if I'm just bouncing around and playing it once a week. So I actually dropped it after improving to this 0.5, and I'm okay with that, because I just have stuff to do, you know. That being said, I can definitely improve this still. You're going to see one of the main strategies I added in the faster U-turn strategy. That's in Enmead's video, and I'm also releasing my MT into this treetop, and I'm instantly going into the wheelie. Saves about 0.2. I'm pretty comfortable with it. I kind of have a hard time getting a great alignment out of that turn, and there's definitely some inconsistency with the faster U-turn strategy. I definitely need to work on that. You're gonna see, like, I don't do it perfectly on all 3 laps or anything, and it saves quite a bit of time. Like, it is way faster than you know, any other strategy other than like the turn skip. But yeah, so this definitely isn't like any kind of special pace for me. Like a 46.3 definitely isn't up to my standards. I can definitely be way faster. Like I said, my splits almost give 216. I can't even do turn skip. I learned turn skip this year to you know, get a good no glitch flap here, and I got the job done. I got like a 44, like a low 44 or something like that. But really no point in doing that for the 3 lap side of things. But you know, it's good to know anyway. Like, I encourage people to experiment with different strategies and such. And you're gonna see I am using the Xenal strat, which I show off in my beginner video, and basically it's not that slow at all. Like, I'm totally fine using it. It's not the absolute fastest. Ideally you would just go straight and get a chain, but it's about as fast as a half chain if you do it right. So I really don't mind. Definitely in the short term I can get a 217.8. Long term definitely can get more. So yeah, we'll see how things go. Okay, so we're moving on to Maple Treeway Glitch, and this is a category I definitely want to return to in this upcoming year, and not just get another 1 for 3, but eventually work towards like my first 3 for 3. I could improve this as a 1 for 3 time, you know, down to like a 203 or a 202, but I really don't see much of a purpose to that, especially when long term just getting a 3 for 3 is going to be the move. And I actually kind of look forward to it. You know, Enmead has this perspective on time trialing where instead of, you know, focusing on what your best pace is, instead consider how far you can make it on a fast pace, and, you know, set that as your, you know, your new PR, as you could say. So like learning Spear here, I could do like maybe the first lap of the glitch, and then, you know, that would be my first PR, right? And then, you know, next time I make it to halfway through lap 2, maybe I make it past the Benny Strat lap 2, that would be a new PR for me. And then eventually, you know, you keep working on your consistency, and eventually you'll be able to get a 3 for 3. So I think it would be kind of fun to kind of adopt that perspective on this track, and, you know, eventually work towards my first 3 for 3. But all around, I'm pretty happy with this as an initial 1 for 3 time. It's nothing special. It's just 2 laps of no glitch, and then like a 27-second lap 2, which is, I think, a pretty decent, you know, first glitch time, really. But yeah, I could definitely do more here if I weren't to improve. Oh, sorry, this is a 29 lap. Okay, anyway, this lap can go down as well. The flap here has been like really annoying for me, the glitch flap. It's such like a nightmare to set up, but I'm probably just gonna, you know, figure that out when I have to. But yeah, I really do look forward to this. I'm thinking about returning to it sometime around April or so. It's kind of hard to say because I have a few different priorities, and this is sort of like a secondary priority. So like once I get through most of my main objectives for this year, then I'll probably return to something like this. Because it's not all that poorly ranked. I mean, there are a ton of 1 for 3 times and relatively few like 2 for 3 and 3 for 3 times. So, you know, if I do return to this and get like a 3 for 3, I would probably be pushing for a pretty solid time, probably close to American tops, if anything. But yeah, we'll see how things go. So that's Maple Treeway Glitch. Alright, and moving on to Grumble Volcano No Glitch. This is a category that I changed very little in terms of, you know, strats. I changed pretty much nothing, and all of my progress here just came from improving my driving. So initially I was going for just a 153, and Mitch was telling me, dude, you need to go for a 152. You can get so much more out of this track. And I was a little skeptical, but I kept playing the track, and pretty quickly I got my 153. And from there, I just kept improving my best splits, and with that came a little more consistency with the overall driving, and I was able to push it down to this current time. And I was actually really pushing hard for a 152, and I just couldn't do it. Like, I was cracking under like all the pressure I was under. So, you know, overall, I'm not complaining about, you know, a 1 second PB cut, but I can still definitely do more here, especially considering this was done back in February. And this is a section of the track I kind of struggled with, but I built some more consistency with, just getting a good alignment out of that orange ramp right there. There's so many of these orange ramps, man. They can get, you know, even if they're somewhat consistent, it's just such like there's so many of them, you know, so you have to really build that consistency. But overall, I really like the driving on this track. I might have to learn Task Room. I think the move is to get a 152 first, and I know you don't need the Task Room, but at that point, I would like to just cut some significant time, and I think if I can just, you know, nail the Task Room, I think that'll just give me a ton of time save. It's just, you know, speaking of the orange ramps, the orange ramp prior to the Task Room is so annoying to do, and I think it's, in some cases, it's frame perfect. It really depends on your alignment, but that frame also changes depending on your alignment, so it's just such a nightmare. But, you know, I got really comfortable with the regular shroom here. I had like a really consistent entry. You can see I'm pretty comfortable with it. I'm cutting off. These are pretty good shortcuts, all things considered. But definitely more potential. I can definitely be a lot faster here. So 152.5. That's a pretty aggressive goal, but I think I can get somewhat close to it, if not hit it. So yeah, we'll see how things go. Alright, and moving on to Grumble Volcano Glitch. I cut some pretty significant time here as well. This is a very short category. I would like to learn the task entry, but overall I think I need to improve my driving before I go for that 18-second time, which is hopefully going to use the task entry. This run is kind of a fail lap 3. You'll see what happens. I just kind of miss like the landing on that hop right there, but definitely just improving my driving. I'm going to start by working down to a 19, and once I get like a lower 19, I'm going to go ahead and add the task room in. And hopefully, I mean, easier said than done, obviously, but I think I can get an 18. So we'll see how things go. Alright, moving on to Grumble Volcano Shortcut. This is one of the categories that I barely played at all this year, and it's kind of irrelevant, I'm going to be totally honest, so it lags behind sort of the rest of my PRs in terms of quality. But, I don't mind that it kind of lags behind. All I have to do is keep improving it as long, with every other track, and I'm just going to treat it like any other category, just one that's not as relevant. So this run, oh god, there's so many missed mini turbos. I have not seen this run in so long. I've gotten somewhat comfortable with this way of doing the rock hop, doing the wheelie entry. It's quite a bit faster than, doing the online method. But basically my goal for incoming for this year was just to get 2 rock hops and a respawn. That's what I did. I improved the driving a little bit, which is why I cut so much time. The driving last year was so bad, if you guys saw my video from last year. But like I said, I don't really mind that this lags behind my other categories. It's just not one that I really care for all that much. But given that my overall standard of driving has improved, I would like to improve this with it, even if it doesn't sort of catch up to what my other driving is normally like. So I think a 140 is totally reasonable. All I would be going for is just 3 for 3 rock hops, and I'm sure the driving can be a little bit better as well, similar to last year. This is just like kind of a category I would play if I'm like really, really bored. Sometimes, it's hard to say if you're kind of in between tracks or if you've been grinding the same track for a while. It kind of helps to just pick up another track sort of randomly, and I feel like this might be one of the tracks I pick up sort of randomly. Even though I don't have a lot of intention of playing it, I could just see myself improving this, jumping to like a 140 with my first 3 for 3 run. But yeah, that's Grumble Volcano Rock Hop. Might just play this when I'm bored this year. That is a nice missed mini turbo. Love to see it. That probably, I don't know how much time that I lost, and I don't want to know. But yeah, that's Rock Hop. Alright, moving on to Dry Ruins. This was almost my most improved no glitch category of this year. You can see I cut over 2 seconds, which is just absolutely ginormous for the level of driving I have already achieved so far. So I barely missed out on my first 148. I was sort of going for 148. It was more so getting a run that I felt represented my potential, and I knew it would be close to 148. And I'm not one to really concern myself with subs all that much. Like, I'm sorry if you do, and you're going to see I have quite a few 0.0 times, so you might find that kind of annoying. But, my standard of driving can still be so much better here. I'm kind of using what Arvo called boomer strats, which is just like what they did in, 2010, 2011, whenever they added Ultra in. I'm basically doing everything they did. And you can push these times, like these strats, pretty far down. Like, this run isn't anywhere near perfect, and it just has so many mistakes, but it can still be like a mid to low 148 with boomer strats. And I still would like to add new strats this year, but you can see my goal is pretty aggressive. It's a 148.3, and eventually I would like to get onto American tops. I'm going to need to push for like a 147 if I want to get, a decent spot on the tops. But I would like to add strats in. I'm actually interested in adding the faster sand hop strategy, where you get a mini turbo out and you sort of use a TF input to get over that sand. It's quite a bit faster from what I've heard. I think it's more difficult as well. I've kind of messed around with it here and there, but I haven't really done serious attempts with it. I would like to add it in at least 1 for 3. 3 for 3 might be a little more challenging. I really have to see how consistent it is. And then this faster tomb exit that world record does, I would like to add that at least laps 1 and, let me see, at least like 2 for 3 or 3 for 3 hours. Actually, yeah, I think I could add it in 3 for 3. From what I've heard, it's not all that hard. So that's the goal for this year, and hopefully we'll get our 148.3. Alright, moving on to Moonview Highway. Guys, the time speaks for itself. I got a mid 143, which was not at all my goal. My goal was a 143.8, and I even thought that was pretty aggressive going into the year. but I am so happy with this run. Like, words cannot even describe it. And if you don't like chains, I don't either, but this run gets no chains. I got a mid 143 without chains. You're going to see lap 3. I got a perfect alignment all the way down the straightaway, and I get a huge drop. And if that were corrected, this would have been close to a 143.2, which is just insane for my standards. So really coming into this year, oh, and also, by the way, this lap 2 gets absolutely carried by this double trick right here. Like, take a look at that. Oh my gosh. That's faster than anything world record does at the moment. And no single trick can beat that, you know? It's incredible. Anyway, coming into this year, I would like to sort of match this pace into lap 3, and all I want to do is just correct that drop and get like a half or a chain, and that's all I need to do. I can even be a little bit slower, and if I can just get a half or a chain, I can at least get down to a 143.3. I will need to kind of stick with the ghost. This was like far and away my fastest pace ever. So I might be understating like how easy it is to match this pace, but we'll see what happens. I think I can definitely improve off of this. And you know, this track is super pace locked. There's so many different pace locks, but at this level, it's kind of freeing because there's really not all that much until this yellow truck right here. But even if I got that chain, I would still be able to go around the truck. It's not really a problem until you're pushing for a 142, and then the blue car starts to be a problem beyond that. But yeah, that's Moonview Highway. Super happy with this run. Can push it a little bit farther, and we'll see what happens. Alright, moving on to Bowser's Castle. This is probably one of my worst lagging no glitch categories in the entire game. I still managed to improve it by, as you can see, a little over 0.6, but I really can be so much faster here. I really don't want this to be one of my worst tracks. Like, considering my skill level, I really should have at least a mid 222, if not a low 222. So considering all the potential I have on this track, I think I can currently, you know, if I learn this faster half pipe, like, this is not good. If I learn the faster half pipe, I can get a mid 222 without a doubt. From there, if my driving continues to improve, I improve my geysers, primarily the geysers are pretty bad, but my overall driving, if it continues to improve at its current rate, I think a 221 is doable, and that would be a real task for me to achieve, but I would love to work my way towards it. But I would be totally happy if I just, you know, Waluigi Stadium last year, my time was a 153, and I was like, I really should have a 151 right now. I did achieve that goal. I did get a 151, but you know, I'm gonna be happy if I at least push myself to like a mid 222. Though that would still kind of, you know, if I improved like the rest of my times as well, this would still be one of my worst lagging no glitch times. But I just have to keep in mind that I just can't give up on tracks like this. If I just accept that it's my worst category, I lose the potential to improve it, when I really can if I just learn a couple of things. So like I said, the half pipe has been the biggest thing holding me back right now. Once I master the half pipe, that's just like, I have all of the foundation built for 221. Just there's so many nuances to the half pipe section, and I believe Enmead is working on a video. In fact, I believe it's almost done, where he covers like an in-depth tutorial for the half pipe. So once that comes out, I'm going to be just locking in on this track once I finish whatever I'm doing. But I really need to figure this out. Just there's so many variations, like the type of trick you can get. You know, you have all 4 directional tricks. You don't want an up trick. It's like, so you have 3 left that you can get. And then depending on your air time and which trick you get, that kind of determines how you have to take the half pipe. So really, it's going to be a time sink just to learn it, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. This is kind of failed. These geysers are not that good. This really should have been a 222, but it's okay. So yeah, definitely more progress to be made here, and I'm looking forward to how everything goes. Moving on to Bowser's Castle Glitch. This is a new category for me, which is kind of surprising. I entered this year just having no clue how to do it. In fact, I was so like mind blown that people were able to do this online. I was like, why? I can't do this. This is just impossible. But the truth is, like, I came to this category because it was by far my worst ranked, because it was still my no glitch time that was on the charts. And I was getting advice from Mitch. I'm going to keep mentioning Mitch. He's been such a massive help to me. He's been coaching me throughout this year. So big shout out to Mitch. Love him. But he taught me how to do this. He taught me a variation of Thunder's strat, where you use the mock bike and you hop right as you hit the boost panel, and if you have the right alignment and you just time that hop properly, you just get such good airtime, and it became way more consistent than I expected. Like I was like, okay, well I guess I can do a 3 for 3 now. But I remember when I was starting to learn this glitch, I made my first glitch ever, and then, you know, I was in the call with Mitch. He was like, Carter, you have to go for this lap 2 if you want to improve. I was like, okay, I'll do it. And then I make it again, and I was so just shocked. And the run finished as a 2:20, so, you know, that was not a good time. Obviously, it was just a 2 for 3, but it really just shows the kind of progress you can make on a track like this. And, you know, just messing around with strats. And you can always just learn stuff. Like, you really have to just commit yourself to not giving up on certain things. Because I was so convinced I could not do this glitch 3 for 3, but it really is not that hard. And now just most of my time save, like a lot of the time save will come from doing faster glitches. There is a faster variant of the glitch itself that I would like to learn at some point. But going into this year, I think I'm going to stick with all my current strats, and there's really no reason I can't get a 211, like a mid 211. You can see just there are so many mistakes in this run, and it's, what is it, a mid 212, so definitely more I can do here. The glitch itself, I can save time on it without, you know, using a faster glitch method. It seems kind of luck whether or not you get good airtime. I'm sure it's not luck. It definitely has to do with really tiny differences in how you approach it, but for all intents and purposes, it does feel like luck to me. But I can definitely improve it. This is a terrible ending, but a lot of work to be done here. I'll get that mid 211, and yeah, we'll see how things go. Alright guys, we are moving on to Rainbow Road, no glitch, and as you can see, I made the transition, not my gender, but vehicles of transportation. I have switched from the bike to the cart, and I'm now doing 3 for 3 cart moon jump, and I'm so happy with how I did this here. This is, as you can see, it's sort of a high 228. That's kind of the foundation of the driving. That's like a base level driving, understanding how everything works, and you can get a 228. And that's exactly what I did. I invested about a week into this, and you know, my driving just improved so quickly. Like I would sort of mess around with kart here and there prior to, you know, putting serious time into it, and you really can't make progress like that just because kart has such like it has such a high barrier of entry. It's like you really have to commit yourself to getting comfortable on the vehicle and the kart moon jump before you can see any serious progress. And once I did put that time in, I got a little bit more consistent with the kart moon jump, got my first 3 for 3 run, and I got a low 230, not a 229, a low 230. And from there I got helps from Flair and a few other top players, and they helped me push it down to a 228, which was my goal. I was a little skeptical whether I could do it initially, but I put the time in, I put the hours in, and I'm happy with the result. So moving forward, I can definitely still cut a lot of time here now that I understand sort of the foundation for the driving. There is a little bit of time save I can save on the kart moon jump. I think I can just get more consistent with it. A lot of time save is going to be come from adding the path switch in, which is pretty difficult, all things considered, but the consensus seems to be like if you have a 227 or so, then you can definitely add in path switch, and I could even add it in without improving to 227. But really, I feel like I should just be able to improve on my driving overall. So what I think I'm going to do is when I return to this, I'm thinking that'll be around April or so. I'm just going to start by using all the same strats. I'm probably going to find like a more consistent way of doing the kart moon jump because I don't think I'm doing it totally properly. But using these same strats, I'll improve my time. Maybe it'll be to like a mid 228 or even a low 228. But once I do that, I'll add in the path switch, and it saves a lot of time. Like I'll probably jump to 226 once I just finish my first 3 for 3 run with the path switch. So, you know, obviously a lot easier said than done. I'm gonna have to really learn how to do it. Even Flair still struggles with it, so there's no reason why, you know, I would be able to just jump to 226 like that. But still a lot of progress I can make here. I'm really looking forward to playing this, and we'll see how things go. Alright, moving on to Rainbow Road glitch. I am so happy that I put in the time for this glitch because I had my no glitch time on the blue charts on the players page, and it was just sitting there, you know, like 100th place, and I was like, oh, if I could just pull off this glitch, I can cut so much rank, you know, I could cut so much AF. So I put in probably 6 days or so, playing this about an hour to 2 hours to 3 hours a day, and all it was is just putting in the time, and that's all it is. All you have to do is put the attempts in, and you'll make this eventually. As long as you're putting yourself in a position to make the glitch enough times, you will make it, because how could you not, you know? So I got some help from Owen Smith, and learning this initially was kind of hard because you get so little feedback on your attempts. Oh, this is kind of a fail. Yeah, this no glitch driving is kind of lukewarm. There's like, I can improve this to like a 204 without anything else, but anyway, I got some help from Owen Smith. Like I said, there's so little feedback on what you do wrong on any given attempt. So really what I have to do is just like trust what other people say about the glitch, and just, you know, align where they say to align and do what they say to do. And there's like a little bit of feedback you can get, like whether or not you get like really close to the wall or not, whether your hop timing is good, it will kind of influence where you know where exactly you end up relative to the wall. But I don't want to like improve this to a 2 for 3 anytime soon. I think long term, like super long term, I would like to get a 2 for 3. But God, that would be such a massive time investment. Like from what I've heard, you know, it took Core like over 100. I forget exactly the number, but over 100. Oh my gosh, this is such a nightmare. But yeah, and like I said, it took him over 100 1 for 3 runs before he got his first 2 for 3. You know, just sitting there doing 2 for 3 attempts, throwing out glitch runs back to back to back. So you know, when you have to be just so willing to go for it. Also, that trick was really random, but you know, with a 1 for 3 time, I'm still very well ranked. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this is like 30th on the players page. So there's not a huge incentive to improve this at all. Firstly, first priority, if I do return to this, would be getting like a 204. That'll just be a slightly improved 1 for 3. But yeah, that's the plan for next year. Hopefully we'll get that 204. And we're moving on to Peach Beach No Glitch. This is a category I actually didn't return to this year, but I really would have liked to. But entering 2024, I was so happy with this time. Like I started off last year with like a 114, and I just had that forever, and then after like 2 days of playing this, I was able to push it down to this current time, and as of now it's still a solid time relative to my other times, but I can definitely be faster, and I think I could improve down to a 0.1. That was initially my goal coming into 2024, but given I haven't played it, my potential like previously sat at a 113.1, but now I would say it sits closer to a 112, which is my goal, and it's going to be very, very challenging to get that. And you've probably noticed, like, I have goals on every category so far. I don't intend on returning to every category. I know I'm not going to, because I just don't have the time for it. So basically it's sort of like, if I have the time and I choose to play this track, this is the time I would go for. That's kind of my philosophy for it. But a 112 is a very challenging time, but if I put in the hours, I'm sure at a minimum I can hit that 113.1, and we'll consider, I think after that point I'll just see where the chips lie and see how much potential I have left, and if the room is there, I'll go for 112. So yeah, that's Peach Beach. Alright, moving on to Peach Beach Glitch. I was so happy to get a low 107. This is my first glitch time ever, and you know, for a first 1 for 3 time, from what I've heard, this is like really solid. I believe the best 1 for 3 time you can get is sort of around a 105, I want to say. So getting a 107.1 is, you know, I'm very happy with it. I could definitely get a 2 for 3, and that's going to be where my goal is. Like I said, I'm setting a goal for every category, so if I do return to this, I don't really see a point in improving a 1 for 3 time, especially considering this is already pretty solid. Worst mistakes in this run are like that, like a slightly wide turn. I think there's like one other slightly wide turn. So, and you know, I can improve the driving overall. I don't get any Kezers, I think, but you know, this is fairly solid for my first 1 for 3 time. But yeah, like I said, I don't think there's much of a point in improving the no glitch driving when realistically I'm only going to get to like a 106 or so. So I may as well just go for a 2 for 3. And I was playing this for flap, and you know, like pretty recently I was playing it for the glitch flap. And the standstill, or like the stop method for the glitch, ended up being so much easier than I realized. I never did a stop method run, like I only ever did no stop. And seeing how consistent it is, I could just do 2 for 3 that way. So yeah, we'll see how things go. Moving on to Yoshi Falls, I am so happy with this time, especially considering I came into the year with a 59.8, so I cut half a second here, and I returned to this probably 2 times. So the first time I returned to it, I believe I got like a mid.6, that was like at the very beginning of the year, and towards the end of the year, I was playing Daisy Circuit, and I was sort of bouncing between Daisy Circuit and this, sort of as a break from DC, and I was making really good progress here. So I put Daisy Circuit on pause, and I improved to like a 0.5, I believe, and then I returned back to Daisy Circuit. Then I got bored of it, came back to this again, and then I got a 59.311, and I was so happy with it. I believe this is one of my best paces I've ever had. What is this lap? It's a mid.7. Yeah, I forget what lap 1 was, but any mid.7 is pretty solid for me. I use this mini turbo strategy. In order to improve this down to a 0.1, I'm going to have to cut out all the MTs, all the MT strats. I'm really just going to have to commit to getting 3-for-3 sticks, and I think that's pretty realistic. I can definitely do that. It's just going to be about putting in the hours and getting the job done. I thought I had a 0.6 lap 3, but I must be mistaken, so I think that was a previous run. But yeah, that's Yoshi Falls. Moving on to Ghost Valley 2 No Glitch, this is a category I would really like to work on in this upcoming year, and my goal for this year was just going from a 0.3 to a 0.2, and I got the job done. It wasn't all that impressive. I'm not super proud of this run, but my main goal was just grinding through the goals, and I did that. So I hit my goal and I stopped, and I could have improved this probably down to like a low 0.2. I definitely could have at the time. You can say I played this in March, but considering how much better I've gotten in the past few months, I would like to push for more than a 0.1. My initial goal for 2025 was a 0.1, but I really think with with how much progress I've made, I should be able to push a little bit farther than that. And long term, I would like to get like a mid 0.9, like a 52.9. I would be really happy with that. It's really just going to come down to improving these shrooms. That's a large part of it. And I actually don't super soft drift this right turn right here, and I really need to start doing that, because where else am I going to be saving time, right? So that's going to be the move for this year, and we'll see how things go. Moving on to Ghost Valley 2 Glitch, this is the one and only glitch time that I have. I was having such a hard time just making this glitch. I actually do have another glitch time, but it was so weird. I did like a weird stop method right at the beginning. I didn't even get the hop out, so I got a ton of air time. It was like barely faster than my no glitch, and it was really, harming my average finish, so I had to return to this, and I had to go all out and just get my first instant glitch like I did right there. And the driving is not good, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was playing everything so safe, just because I didn't know how long it would be until I got my next glitch time, and I knew it would improve either way, regardless of how good the driving is. As long as there weren't any major mistakes, I could improve it. But coming into this year, I would like to just get another 1-for-3 time, and then basically do my really good no glitch driving for laps 2 and 3 that I know I'm capable of, and I think that should yield me like a 52.3. So that's going to be the goal for this year. This is definitely very doable. Like, as soon as I make my next glitch, I'm going to improve it. Don't know if it'll be the 0.3, but there's much more room. Alright, moving on to N64 Mario Raceway. I made some good progress on this track this year. I came into this year with a high 142 with a giant fail on lap 3, and I thought my goal was going to be pretty aggressive, like a 142.3. I thought that was going to be really hard. I improved down to it pretty quickly. Like, all things considered, I definitely could have pushed it down farther. This shortcut lap one is not all that good. Still plenty of mistakes in this run. Still a lot of room for improvement here. I really think a 141 is doable. I think I can just be so much faster. Biggest room for improvement is going to be by improving these double pipes. I do up tricks on all of them because I wasn't comfortable doing a left trick by this point when I was playing it. But there's really no point I can't do it now. I was messing around with this on the fast lap side of things, and I almost got American tops. I was just barely off of American tops with my flap. So I think if I can just implement the side trick into the pipe and just get really good double tricks 3-for-3, that's going to be a huge time save for me, regardless of, I'll still need pretty solid no glitch driving. All things considered, like, the no glitch driving here is, why am I referring to it as no glitch driving? There's no glitch on this track, but you know what I mean. The rest of the driving here is pretty solid, but you can just get such low tricks you know, just implementing the left trick. Like I underestimated how much time it saves. Like I added in the infies this year because it saves so much time. I added, you know, a left trick into Moonview Highway because it saves so much time. And this is still a category where I haven't fixed my side tricks, so it's kind of annoying because they're still pretty precise, but there's definitely more room for improvement once I add that in. I've never hit, what is it, like a 33 lap? Yeah, I've never hit a 33 lap before. I've hit like a 34.002, which is like my lap 2 here, which is my best split. So right away, I think I can hit like a 141 lap and then hopefully improve to a 141. So yeah, we'll see how things go. Alright, moving on to Sherbet Land. This is not a track where I hit my mark for this year. I wanted a 204, but basically I played this category for probably 2 days back in April, and I got bored so quickly. This was actually a 204 fail, like at the very end of lap 3, so definitely more I can do here. The driving can definitely be improved. I think my chains are... at this point it's so much harder to get consistent at chains because it's just about playing the category for enough time that you just happen to get a lot of them. But my cave driving I think can be better. I've definitely been working on that, taking just a lot of the turns more tight. I think I can improve on. This last turn is quite a challenge. I touched on that in my beginner time trial guide video. It's still something I kind of struggle with, but there I did it pretty well. I didn't cut all that much off, but all things considered, it's not that bad. I can definitely take a lot of these gaps quite a bit tighter. My shrooms tend to be pretty solid, but I still think I can be faster. And getting a smooth landing from the cut is also kind of important because it gives you a consistent chain setup. Whereas if you kind of get these weird bounces after the shroom, you have to time your wheelie a little bit later. It kind of throws you off in a lot of cases. But this cave driving, it's not bad, but it's still very improvable. The cave driving I think it's more technical than most of the rest of the track, so it's going to be a place for improvement a lot of the time. And you're going to see a lap 3 on that last turn. I really just throw it away. I've definitely hit 204 splits. In fact, I've hit probably closer to like mid 204 splits, but I really just need to put the time in. I think this is going to be a higher priority for me this year, just to improve it down to that 204 and eventually get that 204.7. I don't think that's asking for all that much. I think I just have to put the time in. I think that's all that's left here. The penguins can be kind of annoying as well. And okay, so the reason I messed it up lap 3, you're gonna see the penguins are right in the way, and this is my fastest pace up to this point, so I'm kind of panicking. I make it inside that penguin. I see where they are, and I throw it away. I just do the rehop. I don't think that lost all that much time, but it was definitely the make or break factor for getting that 204. So if you correct that, probably a 204, clean up the driving elsewhere, and I'll probably get to my goal. Alright, moving on to Sherbet Land Glitch. I am so happy with my progress here this year. I've already improved this actually. I'm forgetting that this isn't my 126 run, but this is one of the earliest 2 for 3 runs I made. I've made multiple 2 for 3 runs right now using like the ghost that lines you up at the right pixel and all that. But I've actually really enjoyed playing this category. In fact, I've enjoyed it so much that I would like to go for a 3 for 3. And in order to do that, I'm going to have to learn the one shroom glitch, which is going to be very challenging. These glitch setups are so slow. In my 126, I do it a little bit faster. I save about a second lap 1, a second lap 2, and a second on lap 3. So all around, I improved it by a little bit. I can still be quite a bit faster. And actually, my first 2 for 3 run, the first 2 for 3 glitch I got, I didn't turn around after the second glitch, so the lap didn't count. I did that twice. So it took me 3 2 for 3s until I got the lap count. And oh my god, that's such a fail. But yeah, I'm just glad this isn't my PB anymore. I improved it quite recently, so I didn't have a chance to record it yet. But all things considered, like with these current strats, I can push it down to say a 119. I think is like approaching the limit of what you can do. You can definitely be faster than that, but realistically, a 119 is a pretty solid 2 for 3 time. But just getting it, like this track is so long and it's such a pain to drive on Spear. I would honestly rather just get rid of all the no glitch driving and just get a decent 3 for 3. And I don't really care how slow it is. Like even if it's closer to like a 115, like where I'm spending so much time aligning, that's still going to be so much faster than any sort of 2 for 3 time you can get. So any 3 for 3 I would be happy with, preferably a nicer one, but I'm going to take any 3 for 3 I get. Alright, moving on to Shy Guy Beach no glitch. This is my best no glitch time. It is my highest ranked no glitch time, and I want so much more out of this track. I came into the year with a 0.4. I returned to it. I was live streaming attempts. I was going for my 121. I fell just a little bit short of the mark. My goal for the year was a 122.1. I did not just get that, but I got a 0.0. So all things considered, I was pretty happy. My plan was to return to it and get closer to American tops, or at least a 121. My goal for the year, if I hit my mark, would be American tops. And I ended up not returning to it a second time. I was pretty happy with my 122.0, but considering how much better I've gotten at the game since I set this time, I think I could honestly jump to a 121 somewhat quickly. And not just that, I think if I put the time in, I could not only get American tops, but worldwide tops, and that would put me at a 121.7. And it would be so hard to push for that. I'm just going to be so honest. My best lap, this is almost my best split lap too. I've never hit a 0.1 lap. I'm definitely going to need to start hitting 0.1 laps at least every once in a while. I wouldn't expect it in a run, but I really should start getting them at some point. I think next time I return to the track, I'll start hitting 0.1s. Getting good pink ramps can be so annoying just because it's sort of QM. It's not QM, but it's a frame perfect top basically if you want a good one. But yeah, that is Shy Guy Beach, and much more work to be done here. Alright, moving on to Delfino Square. This is a track that I haven't touched since the beginning of the year. If you saw my video from last year covering my timesheet, you might recall that I set this time, I set this time a little bit after the start of the year. So technically I did improve it this year, but I have not touched the category since then. And in all honesty, I was somewhat disappointed with my time at 2:05.645 when I set it. So I was expecting to return to the track this year, but I just never got around to it. I just had so many other things I was working on. But all things considered, my potential is still much higher than what my current time indicates. And this run is just nowhere near my potential at the moment. Even just improving the driving, I don't need better chains. I can get lower 205 just by improving driving. Though, as I get closer to a 204, those chains are going to start to get really, really important. And they already kind of make or break some of my paces, although, with the driving still being, improvable, it's not. It's the kind of two factors at play, basically. But I don't really look forward to playing this track. This is kind of a really challenging time trial. Like I said, as the chains begin to get more and more important, but I do feel like it's important for me to return here just because it's not one of my better ranked times. It's just a track that I've given so little attention to, and I think it's time that I return to it. That's kind of a fail, but yeah, my splits do give closer to a 204. I see no reason why I couldn't approach it. I think a 204 is a very challenging time to get. So I'm going to set my goal at a 0.2 for this year. I think if I can hit that, I would be pretty satisfied. But who knows? Maybe I'll have more in the tank. It's kind of hard to say. It takes me a while to get into form on this track. So depending where, how quickly I improve, I might go for a little bit more than a 0.2. If I'm really, really feeling it, possibly a 204 is in the cards. But it's kind of hard to say. But this driving is just all around pretty improvable. I didn't do that shortcut very well. I entered pretty wide. This ending section I kind of enjoyed, the chain drift. It's a nice way to finish the run. I hate this last turn though, getting that frame perfect hop and landing flush with the track. It's so challenging, but all things considered, I can definitely push this down a little bit and hopefully get a 0.2. So yeah, that's Delfino Square. Alright, moving on to GCN Waluigi Stadium. This is my most improved no glitch time of the year, being about a 2.4 second improvement. And you might recall in last year's video, I was complaining about my time because I had a 153.7, and I knew that a 152 at least was, more comparable to the other times in my timesheet. So to go from that 153.7 down to this time, I'm super happy. And you're going to see right here, I'm using the turn skip all 3 laps, and it was quite a challenge to learn this. It took me about a week to get really comfortable with it. And even after that week, my consistency still wasn't totally there. So just getting I started by getting a run with a 1 for 3 turn skip, and I believe that got me down to a lower 152. And then I added it in 2 for 3, and I got a 151.8. And then lastly, adding it in 3 for 3, I got a 151.3. And from there, I knew I could improve my driving a little bit more. And you're going to see my turn skip lap 3 is also, it's like a half turn skip. I kind of fumbled it, but I was able to recover from it basically. But basically, moving forward, I need to build more consistency with the turn skip. And when I return to this track, it's going to be so much easier to get back into form just because I'm not building from zero. You know, I have a foundation for the turn skip, and I'm rebuilding that muscle memory, and it'll hopefully give me some more consistency. Other places for time save include this wall bounce right here. It looks like I do it pretty well on this lap, but lap 2 I did the up trick wall bounce, and that is quite a bit slower. And I'm going to need to just, like I said, build consistency with that. It's actually a case where like the controller type really does matter. Also, yeah, that turn skip was not good, but it was still faster than not taking it, so we take it. But the type of controller you use actually really does make a difference here, both with the wall bounce and the turn skip. So pretty challenging. My goal for this year is just going to be a mid 150. That's going to put me in the best shape I've been so far, and hopefully make some more progress off of what I've done this year. So yeah, that's Waluigi Stadium. Alright, moving on to Desert Hills No Glitch. I wouldn't have had to say no glitch if I didn't do the glitch this year, which will be in the next video, but this is another category that I just never returned to this year, and I really just had no interest in it, mostly because in order to cut ranks I would have to use the glitch. But I can definitely improve this. I mean, I played it for probably 20 minutes or so after I was done with the glitch category, just playing it for fun, with no real intent of improving. But I feel like just from, you know, stepping away from the track, I feel like my understanding of the shortcut has improved, and just from that, I think I could definitely start hitting some closer to mid 31 laps. Definitely like 31.8s I should be able to do somewhat regularly if I really put some time into this track. Getting wheelie cuts are going to be, you know, huge sources of time save, but I really should be able to improve this without wheelie cuts, just from improving my driving overall. But, you know, chain wheelies don't tend to really matter all that much. There's so much on this track that's kind of finicky. Just the sand physics are just annoying to deal with in a lot of cases. And something I touched on in my beginner video is how you exit that a double mound cut. It's super important, so you can exit at top speed as soon as you land. You don't have to accelerate from base speed. And just getting more consistent and getting a good landing there, that's going to be really, really important moving forward. I should definitely be able to improve my time beyond like a 0.6. That was my goal for this year. However, you know, since I didn't return to it, I'm almost going to pretend like I did get it and then just work off of, you know, that. So if I did have a 0.6 right now, which I definitely should, my goal moving forward would be a 0.4. So that's going to be my goal for this year, and I think that's pretty reasonable. I should be able to hit something like that, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Moving on to Desert Hills Glitch, this was a big effort for me to cut ranks on the players page, and I initially did this glitch just to get a flap time, and I did that slightly earlier in the year than when I set this time. I knew I could improve my 3-lap time if I just got like a really good 1 for 3. Problem is, I was so inconsistent with the glitch that like when I did make the glitch, like I would have to have really good driving in order to, you know, keep up with my no glitch time. And in a lot of cases, if I didn't have good a good recovery or whatnot, my no glitch driving would make my glitch lap look like a no glitch lap. So at that point, there's no real purpose in doing the glitch. But improving my no glitch driving overall and getting a little more consistent with the cut here allowed me to do this 2 for 3. I actually did set a 3-lap time that was a 1 for 3, but I cut like 60 milliseconds from my no glitch time. So at that point, there's like no purpose. Like I may as well just go for a 2 for 3. That's just going to be the easiest way of improving. And I got a couple different 2 for 3s, and this was the first one that really finished somewhat strong, I would say. And moving forward, I can definitely hit a 3 for 3. It's just going to take a bit of grinding. And the way I see it is like every time I make the glitch, it's not like, okay, well then I have to think about making it 2 more times. I just think of it as getting another 2 for 3 attempt. And then once I make a 2 for 3, I get my first 3 for 3 attempt. And as long as I keep giving myself opportunities to get 3 for 3 attempts, that's all I have to do. And if you get enough 3 for 3 attempts, you just get a 3 for 3. And that's all. That's kind of my philosophy with it. As long as you're putting in the attempts, you know, that's all you have. That's all you can do, really. This no glitch driving isn't all that special. I think just a 2 for 3, I can still improve it down to like a 134. Sorry for those of you who care about subs, but I did not get the sub, so it's okay. I'll improve it anyway. So yeah, we'll see how things go. Alright, moving on to BC3 No Glitch. This is a track that I definitely have more potential than my time indicates, and I'll give you sort of the situation. I think I was playing, what was I playing? there was some other category I was playing, and I switched to BC3 as sort of a break from it. And right away I was hitting really good paces because I learned how to do these side tricks, and it was giving me a lot more consistency with the lows. And the main benefit of the side trick is it picks up your back tire higher than like an up trick or a down trick would. So I'm saving these low tricks more often, whereas like with an up trick or a down trick I might end up falling into the lava. It's kind of hard to do on nunchuck just because I'm rotating the remote 90 degrees to shake up, and then I'm rotating it back, and it definitely took some practice to get used to. But right away I was getting like solid paces. Like a 46.2 actually isn't that good for my standards. You saw what that opener was. In fact, I've hit 2 paces back to back at one point that both had 45-second openers. Or sorry, it was 45-second back to back, so lap 1 and lap 2, and I did that twice in a row. And you're never going to guess where they both failed. It was the 4th low of lap 3. And really, just coming into the year here, I can get like a 217 right now. Really, all that would be is just a continuation of any of those paces that I've had up to this point. But just by improving the driving, definitely improving the chains, I should be able to get down to a mid 217. In fact, I've never had a run that had, 15 for 15 lows. I believe this is my best run. I think it gets, 13 for 15, something like that. But definitely more work I can do here. And I think this wasn't even much of a pace for me. You're going to see lap 3, I get I forget what my lap 2 was, but yeah, oh my gosh, I missed that low. Of all lows, I should have gotten that one. That's kind of a shame. Oh, this is such a fail as well. Anyway, so at this point, I'm like way behind my ghost. So I'm like, okay, this is over. I'm just going to like pray for a double chain. And keep an eye on that speedometer in the bottom left-hand corner, because you're going to see what happens here. I take this last turn. Perfect alignment. Okay, full chain. And secondly, another full chain. So I double chain and I get an improvement. I was shocked that I actually finished as a run, but it worked, and I'll definitely get my mid 217. More progress to be made here. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Moving on to BC3 shortcut. This was a massive effort for me to improve using 3-for-3 ultra cuts on Daisy Mock. I entered the year with a 206 that did Flame Runner on the old shortcut. It was not slow, or sorry, it was very slow. I wasn't using the spin drift method. I was literally stopping and turning. But I decided, if I want to cut serious time here, the only path forward is by doing 3-for-3 ultra cuts. And initially I was so inconsistent with it that I was like, should I just go for like a 2-for-3 run and then just do the old cut lap 3? But really, there's not much of a point to it. I knew I had to just go all out. So I went bang 3-for-3 on the charts, and I got a low 201. I was kind of hoping it would be a 200, but it's okay. I'll definitely get that this year on my way to my 159, which is going to be the goal for this year. So I built up consistency with the ultra. It was not super consistent. It's still very hard for me to do, but it took 15 3-for-3 attempts before I finally got my 3-for-3. So I really had to put the attempts in. And like I was talking about, I see it as a 3-for-3 attempt. I don't see it as, getting 2 in a row and then you needing to do another one. Just as long as you keep putting in the attempts, you'll get enough 3-for-3 attempts, you just make it. And that's exactly what I did. So I just had that philosophy moving forward, and it really helped me, just put the hours in. And I was getting quite a few 2-for-3s. I was getting quite a few of them per session, and I knew it was just a matter of time until I got it. So really moving forward, I still can improve the ultras themselves. As you can see, it takes me quite a while to set up, like especially this third ultra lap 3. But just streaming a little earlier should save a little bit of time. And just by improving my overall driving, chain wheelies still matter. This track is 95% no glitch driving, so it's kind of something people underestimate, but getting the chains are still super important. But just improving everything a little around the edges, I should be able to shave my time down to 159. So yeah, that's the goal for this year. Alright, moving on to DK Jungle Parkway, no glitch. This is another track where I added the glitch in, so I have to specify no glitch. But I made some decent progress this year. I definitely have more in the tank. This is now one of my worst lagging no glitch times, a 214.1. is not something I'm particularly proud of. I feel like if this time were comparable to my other times, I would have like a mid 213. But you're gonna see my goal is at 212. So at this rate, it's gonna become one of my best tracks if I do get that 212. And the path forward, I think, is to get a 213 with all the same strats, and potentially a mid 213 with the same strats. But I would like to add in the task shroom that world record uses, and that's going to be quite a challenge to learn. I've messed around with it on Dolphin, I really struggled with it, but considering I was able to learn the turn skip, I feel like if I just put enough time into this, like as much time into this task shroom as I did with the turn skip, like I have to build up some consistency, right? So I'm gonna give it a try. I'm gonna push down to my 213. I'll give it a try, and if I find enough consistency with it, I'll try and implement it into runs, or at a minimum just the first 2 laps, and then lap 3 I can take it somewhat safe, and even still that should yield a ton of time save. Ideally I would be able to just do it 3 for 3 and jump to 212, but I know it's going to be a lot easier said than done. Just the shortcut is such a pain to do, and this driving really isn't anything special. I've driven much faster than this. Even I picked it up somewhat recently just while I was bored, and I was getting to like the lap 1 shroom just way ahead of my goes. So I have 213 driving. It's just about putting the time in and building enough consistency with the shroom. Even the old shroom, I'm still having a lot of trouble with it. So it's kind of like the gap jump for me last year. Like the gap jump, I just had no understanding of it. This is my new gap jump because I don't get the old shroom. And it's kind of a shame because I know I'll have to get a better understanding of it in order to get to my first 213. But when I get to it, I get to it, It's kind of I think it'll just be a matter of time. But just getting such good shrooms is such a challenge, but it's going to be something I have to put some time into, and I'm willing to put that time in. So yeah, we'll hopefully get to that 212. Alright, moving on to DK Jungle Parkway Glitch. This is my first ever glitch run, and I used the sign clip on lap 1, as you can see. This actually did not take all that much time for me to do. This took me about probably 2 hours, I would estimate. And for my first day playing it, that's totally fine with me. I was just hit my goal, getting my 1 for 3 time, and I was happy with that. And the sign clip, all things considered, it's very slow compared to like a tree clip or something like that. It's quite a bit slower, so I'm just doing 2 laps and no glitch driving at this point. But moving forward, I can definitely improve my time if I get a 1 for 3 tree clip. In fact, I was doing 1 for 3 tree clip attempts a few months ago, and I did hit one, but I somehow lost all my time in the no glitch driving, and the run only ended up being a flat record for me, which was such a shame. But there's definitely more I can do, so I'm not all that disappointed. And getting another 1 for 3 run, there's not much of a point to it, honestly. I would cut like a couple seconds at best. So I think moving forward, I'm just going to go for a 2 for 3 sign clip, and then eventually either a 3 for 3 sign clip, or I would just go straight for a 3 for 3 tree clip. A few different options, but man, getting a 3 for 3 is going to be such a pain when I get around to it. Maybe it won't be as bad as I think it is, because once I do get like maybe I'll go for like a 2 for 3 tree clip, and maybe I'll have a little more consistency than I do right now. So it's kind of hard to say, but it's just going to be another case where I just have to put the hours in. Definitely a 2 for 3 sign clip is the next step for me to improve my time here. And this track is so unbelievably long. So just getting a 2 for 3 sign clip, it's going to save so much time. Even if like the laps themselves aren't that good compared to like a tree clip, it's going to be so much better than a 1 for 3. So that's going to be the step moving forward. All I want is a 2 for 3. No time in particular, because it's going to be so much faster than my current time, which is all I'm really concerned about. So yeah, that is DK Jungle Parkway Glitch. Alright, moving on to GCN Mario Circuit. This is a time I'm so proud of. I posted this run on YouTube a couple weeks ago, and this was a massive cut for me. It was a 0.3 PB cut from my previous time, and when I picked up this track again, I had a 1:32.0. And this run is what's known as a 5 for 9, and what that means is, so for instance, a 9 for 9 would be getting 3 good shortcuts, 3 chain wheelies, and 3 fast doubles at the end. So this run gets 5 out of 9 of those. and I get 2 fast doubles. Man, the fast double is definitely the most important one. Like, I would prefer to get a fast double, instead of a chain wheelie if it really came down to it. Good shortcuts matter as well. I think this lap 2 shortcut is pretty, yeah, I clipped some sand, or not sand, the grass at the very end there, and I missed that mini turbo. That's the biggest mistake in the run, and if I had fixed that, probably would have been closer to like a 131.3. So really, I just have so much more in the tank here. And big shout out to Second Worldwide Big Bork. He is one of the most talented RMC players on the planet, and he was giving me some help with the double trick because I was just having such poor consistency with it. I was making it like 1 in 10 to 1 in 15. And before this run, I'd only hit a fast double on laps 1 and 2 once ever, and that was my best pace ever. And this pace was a little slower than that, but I was actually just able to finish it strong. I only got a good shortcut on this lap. I didn't get a chain wheelie, and I didn't get the fast double. I actually knew I was gonna not make the fast double on lap 3 just because I wanted to play it safe, so I hopped over, got the job done. I'm just gonna try and fix this lap 3 and get down to 130.3 or 0.2. That's gonna be my goal for this year. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Alright, moving on to Mario Circuit 3. This is a track where I improved, but it was basically nothing. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty much nothing. My goal was a 0.3. I returned to this track intending to get a 0.3. I think I picked this up in August, and I believe that was around the time that I just returned to school, so I hadn't been playing this game very much in the previous weeks or so. So I was kind of rusty, and I kind of just got bored of the track after I hit this time. And only cutting 24 milliseconds, not all that significant, but nonetheless, my overall skill level in this game has continued to improve. So like on a few of the other tracks I mentioned, I'm going to pretend like I did get my 118.3, and if I did have that time, my goal would be a 118.2, and that's going to be the goal for this year. So I think moving forward, I would like to add the triple MT in. I might try and get back into form here with the double MT and get my first 0.3 without it, and then once I do hit that 0.3, I'll have a good foundation for the driving, and then from there, if I add in that triple MT, it should save me quite a bit of time. I mean, only 117s, like all 117s on the leaderboards have triple MT, so it saves a pretty considerable amount of time. But all things considered, the driving can still be improved. Like, this shroom was really bad. Man, I forgot how bad that shroom was. This probably could have been closer to like a low 0.4 if I had just not failed there on lap 3. I've hit faster pace than this. I think I have more in the tank here, so yeah, we'll see what happens. Alright, so we're moving on to Peach Gardens, and this is another category that I just never had a chance to return to. In all honesty, I was very happy with this time when I set it back in the end of 2023, and it was going to be one of my lower priorities regardless of what happened in 2024, and it just happened so that I just didn't get a chance to get around to it. But this definitely would have been one of the remaining goals that I wanted to approach. A 159 last year was my goal, and I'll admit, going into the year, I was very happy with this time, and all things considered, a 159 was going to be a really, really big challenge for me, especially considering I'm not going for all the strats. There's still one strat in the hedge maze that I'm not using, the new Casey strat. I don't know what to call it exactly. I'll just call it the Casey strat. But oh, and also I didn't get that mini turbo properly around that last turn. But those are the only main things where I'm not, I'm obviously losing time. There are obviously improvements in my lines and stuff I can do. But regardless, I knew 159 would be a big goal for me. Just didn't get around to it. I'm going to keep that as my current goal, even though my potential is now, I would say, a little bit higher than it was in the beginning of last year. I should be able to get a 159 with my current skill level, though I definitely think it'll take a couple days. Even I would guess if I put time into this, it would probably take closer to 2 weeks or so. So if I do get around to this, which I hopefully will, it'll definitely be a bigger goal for me. And there's still improvements I can make to my laps here. The last turn, I need to start super soft drifting my last turns. That's going to be a decent source of time save because all 3 laps I don't do the last turn all that well. And if I can, it would be really nice if I could get a slip drift on that first turn like Casey does on all 3 laps. Another source for time save, well, I guess not really a source of time save, but another critical point of the track is the Scorpy strat that I'm doing right there. It's actually very fun to do once you get the hang of it, but it's pretty challenging, all things considered. So a lot of room for improvement here. definitely want to return to this year. 159 is going to be a big goal of mine, and I think I'm definitely going to go for that probably sometime later in the year. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Alright, moving on to GCN DK Mountain. I made some really good progress here this year, and this is one of my better no glitch times now. And coming into the year and coming into 2024, I was not at all happy with my time. It was like a mid 20, what was it, like a mid 208, something like that. Yeah, and my goal for the year was just a 207, and I returned to the track in February, and I slowly worked my way down and eventually got my first 207. I got a 207.9. And from there, I didn't touch it at all. I touched it, obviously I came back to it. I came back to it in December, more as like a break from the other tracks I was playing. And right away, in 20 minutes, I set this time, and I went all the way to a low 207. So it's really unbelievable, just the power of taking a break from a track and what it can do for you. And I was hitting best splits right away, hitting 206 splits immediately. So I can definitely get a 206. That's going to be obviously the next second barrier for me. It is going to require me to beat the boulder on lap 3, which is the only thing holding me back at the moment. Big source of time save right here is improving that first turn, getting a good wrap around both after the cannon and on this turn right here. If you can get that pretty solid in all 3 laps, that's super useful. And something I'm also considering is the MT cut, and that's kind of crazy to say when I'm at a 207, but I was able to implement it into the flap, and I got 7th worldwide, so I was really happy with that. And, you know, similar thing to DK Summit, I added it to the flap first, and then all I did is add it to 1 lap of the 3 lap, and I was able to improve my time by a ton. It's very possible that I'll probably go for a 206 initially, but I could very well add the empty cut in just 1 for 3, and then get to even as much as a low 206. Long term, I really would like to get a 205. I think I have so much untapped potential on this track, and it's really to be seen, where I end up going with that. But you can see that boulder, if I were a little bit faster, would be in the way here. But my shortcuts have improved a lot as well. I kind of fail right here at the end. I'm struggling to get my wheelie out, and I'm back down to base speed. And that might have costed me the 206. Well, maybe I don't think I lost all that much time, but definitely close to a 206. So mid 206, that's going to be my goal for this year, and we'll see what happens. Alright, moving on to GCN DK Mountain Glitch. This is a new category for me, and it's only a 1 for 3 time. And, okay, so I returned to this earlier in the year. Or I didn't return to it. I got my first glitch time earlier in the year, and it wasn't anything special. It was a mid 206, which I could beat with no glitch, right? So it's nothing special. And I came to this track again because I wanted to improve my glitch flap. And you're going to notice I shroom right here, and I do a shroom for the glitch, and I knew this wasn't supposed to be a 3-lap run. This is literally my flat PR that you're watching right now. And I do like the early shroom, so this is literally just a flap. And at this point, I'm not intending for this to be a 3-lap at all. I'm okay, cool, a nice new flap record, so I'm just gonna finish the run. And it literally finishes okay, after I finish this lap 2, I'm wait a second. If I just drive that lap 2 again, could that be a 3-lap record for me? And that's exactly what happened. I improved by 0.5 down to this low 206. And the driving really isn't anything special, but that's because this wasn't supposed to be a 3-lap run. I wasn't at all locked in for this. In fact, this driving I was kind of just doing super casually. And after I make this cut lap 2, I'm wait, that's really good. Have I messed up anywhere? I've literally forgotten what happened towards the beginning of the lap because I'm so not locked in. I'm 43.4, wait a second. If I can just do that again, it's a record for me. So anyway, 1 for 3 is really nothing special. I was doing 2 for 3 attempts. I've hit 2 glitches in a row before, even in the same run. The best I've done is making the glitch a second time, but I failed the recovery. So moving forward, I think I'm going to just go for a 2 for 3. And once I can do that, I think that'll yield me something like a 204 maybe. I think a 204 is pretty reasonable. This glitch doesn't save all that much time, but 204 would probably be a reasonable 2 for 3 time. And then I'll just go for a 3 for 3 and I'll get down to a 201. Easier said than done because this glitch is actually pretty challenging to do consistently. So I'll just see what happens. I'll see where the cards lie. I would like to get a 3 for 3. If not, that's okay. We'll save it for 2026. But yeah, that's DK Mountain. Alright, moving on to the last track in the game, N64 Bowser's Castle. There are two main storylines to this track for me. The first one is on the no glitch category, but the second one is a story still being written, which is on the glitch side of things, the hardest glitch in the game. So we'll start with no glitch. So I entered the year with I think a 233.3 or something like that. And I just returned to this once. It was closer to, what was it? It was March. Yeah, it must have been March. And I returned to the track. I get my first 232, and the Fire Pillar lap 3 I'm very, very close to beating. So I'm like, okay, if I can just drive a little bit faster, I can beat it outright. And once I beat that pace lock, I mean, that opens the doors to a mid 232. And that's exactly what I did. So all I was doing here was just trying to drive good enough to beat that Pillar lap 3. And then once I did that, I get down to my mid 232. And I was pretty happy with that. I definitely could have improved it a little bit more. But all things considered, it was a pretty big total time cut, and I was going to get diminishing returns regardless of how much time I continued to put into the track, so I let it rest at a mid 232. But now it's actually my worst ranked time. It's 144th on the players page, or at least with blue charts, and it's not that much of a difference because only like 7 people have done the glitch. But the next path forward for me here, I think, is the glitch, and I've put a lot of hours into the glitch already. And it's to the point where all I have to do is keep putting enough attempts in, and I will make the glitch. Like, I know it will happen if I put the hours in. And that's because I've had 11 good pull hits so far. And in another universe, all 11 of those would have made the high clip. It all came down to QM. So all it takes is just enough of those good pull hits, and I will make the glitch. And from there, I think a reasonable first glitch time would be like a 220 or 219, depends how fast I set up the glitch. And then if I want to improve it further or super long term, I might go for second worldwide. I think I could potentially do that. All I would have to do, I mean, this is gonna be way easier said than done. I just no scope the glitch, and then I could add the rail cut in laps, like 1, 2, and 3. Oh no, probably just 2 and 3, but realistically just lap 2, just because I might be nervous. But if I can do that, I could get down to like a 217 or 216, and that would give me a really, really nice spot on worldwide tops. And I would really like to put the time in, but man, it is so mentally taxing to play that glitch category. I absolutely hate it, but I think it's gonna be such a good feeling when I can eventually do it. So yeah, that is RBC. And that concludes my 2025 Mario Kart Wii timesheet. As mentioned, I do not plan on achieving every goal I set in this video. I set goals on every track because my priorities in this game can change from one day to the next. I hope to achieve some fraction of the goals I've set today, though I expect my total 3-lap improvements to drop off significantly this year. This is just the nature of time trials and having increasingly optimized times. Instead of improving every category, my focus will be on optimizing each category one by one to the best of my ability. Otherwise, my skill level may begin to stagnate. I want to thank you all for watching and for the incredible support I received on my beginner time trial guide video. I love making content, and I'd love to reach 500 subscribers sometime in the near future. So if you did enjoy this video, why not help a brother out? That's all from me. I'll see you all next week for my top secret video, and next year for my 2026 timesheet. Thank you all for watching.